The one constant in the world is change. To succeed in business and life, you need to progress with it. Constantly question, adapt to new information, and rethink. Cass Business School has done just that. Changed. Introducing Bayes Business School. For those with the vision and courage to do things differently, the future is yours. Bayes Business School. Always learning.
Hello, you're listening to 101 Part-Time Jobs, the podcast where I speak to musicians and artists about what jobs they've worked, what jobs they're working, as well as their general survival. I'm so excited to welcome Charlotte Cooper from the Subways. Their new track, Fight, is out now. It's playing beneath this. And they're on tour for the rest of September, all the way through October across the UK, including a show on a boat in London. Friday the 29th of October, Billy from the Subways will be playing an acoustic set on a boat. Go and find more information on that through Alcopop Records. I'll be there. Cheers for listening to 101 Part-Time Jobs. As always, East London's Signature Brew have been brewing beers with bands since 2011. They've made beers with Mastodon, Sports Team, Hot Chip, Idols, and a whole bunch more. If you want to get some of their flagship beers delivered directly to your front door or back door, but watch out for thieves, you can go onto signaturebrew.co.uk, make a purchase, and with the voucher code 101podcast, all capital letters, you can get 10% off. All right, here's Charlotte Cooper from the Subways. Playing in bands, working jobs between tours and making records. The Subways have been doing it so long now. Have you got used to it? Is there a routine there?
So I think up until our last release was 2015, I believe. I'm saying that slowly in the hope that I'm saying the right year, because all of a sudden I'm like, is that wrong? But no, I think it was 2015. Yeah. And then we up until that point, so the first album came out in 2005, and that 10 years was pretty full on, really. I don't think we didn't really do much other than band stuff. Like maybe we'd have time off, but it would be like we'd just be doing time off things like at home with our families or friends, because the rest of the time we were working, really, like we were on tour or we were recording or writing or rehearsing. So it's only really been since we finished touring that album, which I guess probably did a couple of years on that. Because we did take an intended break. Billy went to university. He went to Cambridge, actually, of all universities. Wow. Yeah. And he studied English literature for 3 years. And when he said he wanted to do that, I think we all felt, oh, do you know what? I think it might be nice to maybe do something else for a bit. Although we didn't stop, like we still did festivals every year. So it wasn't like we completely did nothing for 3 years. And we were sort of meeting every now and again, not as often, but to work on new album bits here and there. But yes, it's only really been in the past 3 or 4 years or so that I've done slightly different things, I guess.
And that's interesting to know that, you know, you had periods of time where you thought, oh shit, you know, actually I want to do this. I want to do my thing. I guess being in a group, you're relying on each other so much.
Yeah, it's true. I think within the band, within the three, but also within our wider touring family, I guess, because a lot of people that work with us have been with us since day one, and that when we go on tour, it is like family, and we love it, and so it's kind of weird to leave that, I guess. We're still in touch with everybody, and we've got everyone's got a WhatsApp group, haven't they, now, and we still send each other stupid things every now and again, and everyone's sort of still in touch and like looking forward to when we do play again.
Do you think you've been quite good at that balance? Because you can see the temptation to just want to do band stuff and do the fun stuff and get excited about that. I mean, how have you been able to make those two work?
I think just because it was our lives 100%. In those first 10 years, we did just did say yes to everything and did everything. I did, I got married in 2010, so I do have a husband, but he works in music as well. So between the two of us, it's just sort of working out, when we can see each other. Things have changed now because I have children now, so I do have to think a little bit more about how I do things, just to make sure it's not impacting them too much, I guess. So I do necessarily say no to things, but I just have to say, right, we need to think about how we're going to do that one. I'm sure there's a way. Me and my husband have quite a lot of, like, we call it like tour managing meetings. Like, how do we tour manage this one? I'm sure we can tour manage this. There's a lot of logistical chat.
Around 2005, around Young for Eternity, I mean, in the years leading up to that, did you have a kind of tunnel vision, were you thinking, look, I want to play music. That's what I'm going to put my time and my priorities towards? I
don't think we had personally, I don't want to speak on behalf of Billy and Josh, but I think personally, I never had sort of, I just wanted to play music. I think I didn't, because we were so young when we started out. When we first started out, we were just sort of three kids making a racket, really, and playing local shows. Then we started to play more and more. And we're like, oh, we really do love this, and just kept playing, and just wanted to keep loving it and keep doing it. And then it sort of became apparent that, oh, like, maybe there's a bit of a tension here. Like, maybe this could be like what we do. But it all happened so quick. Not necessarily quickly, but it was just such a whirlwind, like one thing after another. And we, I felt out 2005, first album came up. I was 19, so it was pretty young. And I think you don't really think about things too much at that age, do you? I guess I think people, maybe you get your first job, or maybe you go to university. I don't think you're necessarily thinking where you're going to be in 20 years or so. I guess I think Well, so maybe some people are. Maybe some people are more mature than I was.
and 15 years ago feels like an eternity, and it also feels like maybe bands were making money then. I wonder if advances were happening, and the idea that you could kind of live off a recording contract. I mean, how prepared were you for that kind of organizational stuff?
So I think you're right. I think we definitely caught the tail end of that big advance major label sort of thing. And like downloading was a thing then, but it was not widespread. Like it wasn't. I didn't know how to do it. Like, you had to be quite sort of technical with your computer to know how to download things then. Whereas obviously now that's I think that people like 19-year-olds now, I think most people are probably streaming things, aren't they, to get their music. So things have definitely changed. And at the time there was a lot of big talk and with like lawyers and accountants and things, but I think we've always had really good management, had the same management from the start, supportive families, which helps with that situation, I think. And our manager Ben, he's amazing. We met him when we were playing a gig in London, and he's been with us. He'd never managed a band before, so we were learning how to do it ourselves. And he got together with Gail, who is a bit of a management legend. She's retired now, but Ben still likes to keep her like in on stuff because she likes it. But they were like a really good team and really like looked after us and just made sure deals were fair and things like that. Yeah.
That's such a lovely story. I feel like sometimes there's a kind of nefarious, an attitude of nefarious managers, but someone, being your mate, becoming that, wonderful.
Yeah, he's great. He was promoting at this venue that we happened to play at, and I don't know, he saw something there. I don't know what, but he saw something, and we've been managed by him ever since.
Would you say that you're quite unjaded by the music industry?
I think I'm one of the rare people. I think there are a lot of jaded people by the time you get to the length of time I've been doing it. But I do like, there's obviously things that annoy me about it, whatever. But I think in general, I feel like quite lucky, really. Like I love being in a band. I love being on stage, and it's not to say I love it all the time and that everything is amazing about it. But in general, I think get to tour the world and play gigs and shit. It's great.
Do you think part of that is because of the way that you've gone about it, in a way that not spreading yourself too thin or giving too much of yourself away and, kind of being realistic about it, protecting yourself, basically? I
think it's always been an emotional roller coaster, but maybe partly that's why I like it. It's the ups and downs and the drama of it. I think definitely since, it's obviously changed since having children, because I need to. It's not a case of being like, yeah, sure, we'll just like go to America for 3 months. That'll be fine. Like without even thinking about it. Like obviously there's consideration. I think going forward from now, there's definitely considerations for how we do things. Whereas in the past, it's like, yeah, of course, that'd be great. Let's go tour and never stop. Amazing. Yeah.
When Billy went to uni, is there something that you found yourself being really interested in and getting into?
So I've always, like, I guess I've always done sporty things. So it gave me a bit more time to train and I was doing triathlon at the time. So I did a bit more of that.
Amazing.
I did, since having my children, I have trained to become a pre and postnatal personal trainer.
Wow.
Just because I find it quite interesting. And to be honest, I didn't really know what to do with myself to get myself back to doing the things that I like doing in a safe and sustainable way, so that, you know, I'm still running when I'm in my 60s or whatever. So that's kind of where the interest sparked from it. But to be honest, the main thing I did when Billy went to uni was to have children and to have a bit of time to do that.
That postnatal work sounds so interesting. And the sporty stuff. I mean, have you always been sporty?
Well, me, Billy and Josh, we met at swimming club. We were competitive swimmers when we were teenagers, and that's where I met them.
Amazing. Yeah. That's an anecdote missed by Kerrang in 2005 or 6, isn't it?
Yeah. Harlow Penguins was our club.
Right, and Harlow has had a music scene, hasn't it? Scene. The Square and, well, yeah, the Square.
Yeah, I think the Square was brilliant because it was so encouraging for young bands, because they had like a rock contest and a rock school. So I think the rock school was more for people who weren't in bands yet, so you could go there and like a lot of bands formed from that. And then the rock competition, it was all just kids, like people the same age as us, like 14, 15-year-olds playing, which was just amazing, giving you the opportunity to do that, because a lot of venues are 18 plus or whatever, and so you wouldn't be able to play. So the Square was just so amazing for nurturing young bands.
And nurturing's the word, isn't it? I mean, doing these interviews, a big element of surviving as a musician is having someone or a group being able to support you, basically, to help push your ideas, to give you advice. And I feel like, well, in my own experiences, I had nothing like that. And I wonder if that's something about the UK or Britain or our industry. I mean, compared to other countries like Australia and Canada, for example, where you get grants for musicians. How do you weigh in on that?
I think you're right in that it was a rare place, because it's not easy being a 15-year-old trying to be in a band, because it's obviously like expensive to buy stuff. Then you've got to like find time, you know, like if you're the drummer, like you've got to have a parent who's going to drive you or whatever, haven't you? Because it's like you can't take yourself, and a lot of venues won't let you play. So to have somewhere like the Square with equipment and other people and gigs to play, we were really lucky. Really, like, that's what got us started, was we wanted to play that competition first of all.
Great. And Steve Lamacq was there, was he?
I think he may have been. If you're telling me that, I believe you. Something I've forgotten. There's something I've forgotten, but yeah.
No, I have no idea. But he's synonymous with the Square.
Yeah, he's always been a huge support. So, he may well have been there, which is cool.
Do you think that having the Square and having that kind of infrastructure helped you take, you know, playing music as a sort of fiscal, actual thing that you could do as a living? Did it help you take it more seriously? I mean, you know, I feel like work and art is just oil and water. You know, there's a conflict there.
Yeah, I had like part-time jobs when I was at school, as everyone did, but I left. I was studying for my last A-level exam in the van on the way down to play our first Glastonbury.
Wow.
So it was pretty seamless. Like A-level ending, like sixth form ending into band stuff. Yeah.
That is really, really brilliant.
I mean, got hammered all weekend and forgot it all probably, but
that stuff coming along at an early age, did it bring pressures or expectations with it?
Back then, didn't care. Just said yes to everything, did everything, rode the roller coaster, had a wonderful time.
And you kept that spirit up until 2015. That, you know, 10 years of that.
I think, yeah, pretty much. Because I think, yeah, because I didn't do anything. Yeah, because you asked like the first questions wasn't it like what did you do other than that? It's like I don't think we did anything else. I think we just did that from what I can remember.
But you must have changed so much. I mean, between the ages of 18 and 25, that's growing up.
Yeah, I think so. I think we definitely grew up over that time because you have to. Yeah, I think like you said, everyone like you go through your 20s and it's a big change, isn't it? From just leaving school to growing up a bit more, having like more responsibilities, and so I guess we must. Yeah, I guess we did grow up in that time on tour.
Were there any moments that happened that now you can look back on and think, I learned something then? That was the learning curve.
I guess it's all a learning curve, and I think because we did it from so young, there's a certain arrogance of youth. I think where you just things don't faze you in the same way. Like I think a lot of the things that we did back then, sort of playing big shows and like TV appearances and stuff, I think they'd faze me now, even though I've been doing it for a long time. Because I think about it a bit more. Whereas when you're young, you just sort of do stuff, I think, don't you, without thinking about the consequences of it quite so much. We did do quite a lot of looking back last year because we did a release during lockdown last summer of we re-recorded Rock and Roll Queen to celebrate 15 years of the song being released. And Billy recorded it in, I think it was 20 different languages, because that's what he does when we play in different countries. He sings it in different languages.
Brilliant.
So there was like sort of the promo for that and stuff. We did a lot of sort of like looking back at old photos and old videos and things that we did around the release of that. And it is pretty mad to look back on. We were so lucky to have so many wild things, like playing on the OC, doing big festivals, and like doing those American sort of chat shows like Letterman and Conan O'Brien and things that, yeah, just like I remember doing them, but it's just so strange to look back on. I think it was just all such a whirlwind, and there's one thing after the other. We just did it and did it and did it and just kept going. But look, when you look back, I think when you slow down, as everyone has done in the last year as well, you just slow down and you look back and you think, that was pretty cool. We were really lucky. That was amazing.
Anyone who's read anything about the Subways knows that there's a real kinship, there's a real friendship and allyship within the band.
Yeah, I think we do all have, there is a strong bond there. So if you don't know about the history of the band, Billy and I used to be together. Billy and Josh are brothers, although Josh left the band last year. I don't know. We did. Yeah. So things are changing, but I think because there's been, that line of two brothers and people who used to be together, like it's definitely drama there. There's been drama there, but I think that brings you closer together because there's a lot of love there as well. And had to work through difficult things together. But then when you have to do that, it's obviously worth it for what you're working through it for, like the music. And I think nobody ever wanted to stop doing the music, no matter what happened between us.
I feel like if you don't communicate very well, it ends up being, prevents you from moving forward. It's like a jarring thing. I think that's quite it's quite an adult thing to understand early on. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it's interesting because I have a 3-year-old, and at the moment it's just trying to, because she's, they're discovering their emotions and stuff, and I'm sort of doing a bit of reading about how you do that, and you need to talk to them about when they get angry and why they've got angry, and it's okay to be angry, but you need to express it in a way that's not, not hitting people or whatever, just like kind of how to express anger. And like if I get angry, because everybody gets angry or something, I just say, oh no, Mummy just got angry about that, but maybe I shouted or maybe I shouldn't, or just kind of, and it makes you think about those, kind of how it's important to talk through things like that, and how then we all learn from what's just happened, because things happen, you can't help that, and we're all human, and we have reactions to things which are sometimes quite strong and stronger than they would have been on a day when we'd slept better, or and but if you look at a situation that's kind of maybe seen as bad, but you talk through it and work through it, then maybe it could be turned into a positive thing, I guess.
That's such an interesting thing to think about. I think the majority of people don't stop to think about why they feel a certain way. And I think maybe it's just easier to try not to think about it and crack on and keep doing stuff.
It's only from trying to figure out what you do with a 3-year-old, to be honest. It's only recently that I've like had to start thinking about these things to help her understand why she might be angry or whatever. Yeah.
Are you learning from her?
I'm learning so much from her. Yeah, loads from her. Way more than I have done in the previous 35 years of my life, I think.
How did the postnatal work come into play? When did you decide that you wanted to do it, and how have you got into it?
Yes, I did a training course, which was all online, because even though Billy was at uni, we did still do shows. So it was quite nice, actually. It gave me something to do during all the travel. It's nice. This is one thing I've learned. The one thing that is a bit shit about being in the band is all the travel and all the waiting and all the sitting in airports and sitting in like just sitting, basically. So
the hurry up and wait routine.
Hurry up and wait. So yeah, having something to keep you entertained while you're doing that is good. So actually, it's good to have things like, the journeys went quite quickly if I was like studying.
How much thought did you put into it before you applied for it? How long were you wanting to do it for, or thinking about it?
I think I sort of dropped onto it, really. I think I did, because I did my like normal PT course before, because that's what you have to do first. And then I got pregnant while I was doing that, and I was like, oh, I don't really know what you're supposed to do when you're pregnant. So, I might do a course and find out. And then again, like after I'd had the baby, just thinking, I really like to get back running, but not really sure how I'm supposed to do that. So I'll do a course. That'll be cool. I'll learn how to. So I was kind of learning and using myself as an experiment, which I think worked.
That's a lot to balance, isn't it?
Yeah. So at the moment, I haven't got any clients because we're doing a reasonable amount of band stuff. So yeah, because I'm quite busy with that. And also my second baby's only 4 months old. So I finished up with clients like in sort of autumnish. But to be honest, I didn't have that many because we were finishing the album last year. Although we were in lockdown, we finished it remotely. So I was recording in my bedroom, which was cool. But I had this sort of deadline of really wanting to get it done before I had the baby. So I chilled out of all the PT stuff and just focused on getting that done.
You must have got so good at scheduling your time and making sure you're in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, having that cabinet brain.
I think I've learned better about what realistically I can handle. With keeping sanity, so to make space for so you're not feeling like you're like always working, or just what, like, so you don't, because I think sometimes we take too much on, you can feel quite overwhelmed, and then when you do feel overwhelmed, it's then really difficult to do all those things anyway. So I think I think I've got a lot better at just being like, no, I'm just doing band stuff, that's it. I think it's since having the children that's happened, really, because then I'll be like, I really need to make sure that I've got enough time with you, and that I'm not working, because a lot of it's been at home, that I'm not working every single evening, because the nature of it is you end up working in the evenings, but then if you're with the children all day and then working every evening, they just end up a bit burnt out, I think. So just knowing of like kind of getting a balance. So it's different. I mean, but when I say the children, this is probably just when I had the one. Now that I have, it's quite different at the moment, because my boy Rex, he's only 4 months. So
Rex is a great name.
Do you think? Oh, cool. Yeah, we really like it, but we weren't sure if it was a bit like strong. But yeah, we think it's cool. But yeah, so obviously at the moment he's really young, so that he's my 100% focus, really. Yeah.
What's it been like finding a new drummer? I mean, take me through the emotional process of finding the new drummer.
It's definitely strange, because Josh has been with us. It's only been 3 of us ever, and I think I think now I'm more accepting of it. I think initially I was like, I can't imagine playing with anybody else. Although we did have a brief period, actually, Josh, there was in 2015. we had a period of about 5 weeks on a tour where Josh wasn't well and he had to go home. And my husband actually played for us for 5 weeks, because this happened sort of mid-tour, and we're like, oh well, Ryan knows all the songs, I'm sure he can do it. And which, very grateful to him that he did. But yes, we have played with someone like I said not played with anyone else before. We've had Ryan for a bit, but yeah, it's definitely strange to think about getting some of that. So I think the key thing is, because Josh is such a, I mean, every drum is unique, but I think Josh, there was really something very like unique about him and the way he played and his drum set up. And I think the key thing is trying to not get another Josh. Like, it's going to be different, and just accept it. It's going to sound different and it's going to be different, but that's okay. Because that's just, it's going to be our new way of playing and our new way of touring these songs.
Can you ever be prepared for that kind of change? I mean, do you feel prepared for it?
Yeah, I think so. I think I feel prepared for it. I think we've got plenty of time to rehearse before then. We will do a lot of warm-up shows as well. But I think we do that anyway, because we haven't played for a year. Well, it'll be a year and a half by that point. So we'd need a lot of warm-up shows anyway, just to get back into the swing of things.
So you've got a new album recorded. Is it nice having that up your sleeve? We live in, a world where information comes and goes so quickly. Is that a nice position to be in, to have that album recorded but not released any information about it yet?
Yeah, and I think particularly at the moment, it's been 6 years since our last album, and we're really proud of this album, and we think it's our best yet, and we want it to get released at a time when it's gonna not. Yeah, I guess we want to tour it, really. So although it's ready and it could be released like anytime we want, we don't want to do, like, what's the point in, we've waited this long, let's wait until we can tour it properly and things are back to, inverted commas, normal, and we can go on tour and give it the promotion that it deserves.
Does that require a lot of patience? Is there a part of you that wants to do it the punk rock way and just get it out because people are going to dig it and you'll have fun releasing it?
Yeah, I think it'd be easy to get carried away. Although that is why because we've been working on this album for a really long time. Some of these songs have been around for ages now, and we're just, there is a sense of impatience with it, but also wanting it to come out at the right time. But then that's why we decided to release Fight now, and we wanted to release something and felt that Fight was also quite topical with things going on at the moment. And then I think we'll release another single later in this year as well, in a similar way, like a limited edition 7-inch type of vibe, just so we feel like there's some momentum there and there's something new coming out, but without putting the whole thing out just yet. People have had to wait, like, if anyone's a Subways fan, they've had to wait a long time for anything new. So it's nice that people still care and are still there. I think I'm really excited to get this new album out and to tour it. I don't quite know how to do it with the children yet, but we figured that out. We'll have a tour managing chat and we'll work it out. But yeah, I think this year has made everyone kind of realise what's important and what they want from life, because when things get taken away, it makes you think that, doesn't it? But I think it's definitely made me realise how much. I think you get the sense from talking to me that I've always been very grateful to do what I do, but I think even more so this year, like, even more, like, really want to get back to doing it, and to being on stage and to touring and to playing these new songs and releasing this new album and seeing where it goes and where it takes us.
That's some good positivity right there.
I think I'm generally glass half full, I'd say. Not always. I'm sure, like my husband would say that I'm not, but he's probably the only one that sees that side of me.
Having made this record from lockdown and being online, I mean, social media is such a big thing for bands now. I mean, it's the platform that people are going to go to first to find you. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it doesn't come naturally to me. I'm so terrible at taking selfies. Like, I look at it and I'm like, I don't even look like that. What is my face doing? So it's why, like, I have it and I try and engage with it because I know it's important. but I feel like 100 years old sometimes when I'm trying to do it. And it's just, some people just, it comes a bit more naturally to them, maybe that, but I find I have to work really hard at it. But yeah,
it does seem like such just another thing to do if you're a band that is primarily about the music and the feeling of the music.
Yeah, it has become really important, and I do accept that it's important. And so we do have someone doing it with us now, who has way better ideas than me.
On the other side, it's a completely open platform to communicate with your fans and be in your community.
I think we always did it in the past, but I think now with this album, we recognise that, particularly to get kind of out to younger people, it is important. And there's a whole world of it which, like, I just don't understand, which makes me just feel really old.
Yeah, you are not alone. Charlotte, thanks so much for coming on here. Really appreciate your time. Looking forward to the record.
Well, thank you very much for including me in your podcast. You have quite a list of names you've spoken to, so I feel very honoured that you've chosen me. So thank you very much.
So that was Charlotte Cooper from the Subways. Shout out Alcopop Records. Shout out Lee Jackson. Cheers, Charlotte. And thanks to you for listening. See you next week. Here's Sparrer.
I've been working all day for me mate on the side, running around like a blue-ass fly. I've been working all day for me mate. Every bleeding minute I've been on the go, up and down the ladder like a fiddler's elbow. I've been working all day for me mate.
This is a Mighty Moon Media podcast.